So, in this installment, I want to talk about the 1787 U.S. Constitution for the United States, since we're in the week for the World Indigenous Month. And there's going to be an upcoming election. A YouTuber was just talking about how in Denzel Washington movie, um, the Roman J. Israel, how Noble Drew Ali was on the refrigerator in a scene. So, with all this commotion about Moors and black people, see, black people are the elephant in the room. No one wants to talk about the debt that's owed to black people being in the room. Because I always look at pop culture and I always look at how we're kind of left out of the conversation for everything. Um, but let's just start running into this stuff. I want to start off with my favorite article. Let's go over this again. This is Article 1, Section 8, and it says, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excesses, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excesses shall be uniform throughout the United States. So when you look at this word excesses and you think of exit and you think of Congress having the power to lay it, shouldn't Congress already have done that? Imposes, establish new boundary lines. Shouldn't Congress have already done that with Chicago? State senators, federal senators, state representatives, federal representatives. Shouldn't have they already done that? All right, and it says pay debts. So if you have the power to borrow money on the credit of the United States and you have the power to collect debts, what does that say about the overall power and duty of the United States? See, I just look at the United States now and I just think of like the people that are in office. They've done a terrible job of educating people. Like I had to learn this stuff on my own. It didn't come from the people who was sitting on Congress who taught me how to read this. I can tell you that now. Okay, it goes on to say to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among to these several states and with the Indian tribes. To regulate commerce with foreign nations. So if I choose, because according to the Iroquois Constitution, I can choose whether I want to be a part of the United States or not. I know a lot of people say you can't be a U.S. citizen. Well, if I choose to be one, I have the power to not be one as well. That just comes with the UNDRIP article where it says I have the power to choose my own nationality and have a right to a nationality as a child. All right, so just looking at this, like I can see already Congress, I can elect. I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Like with this document right here, this document has been overridden. This document has been kind of like shadowed, and they haven't been following it. I want to go on to read more. To coin, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. So when I think about the USD being in circulation and that not having any weight and measure to it, well, it has measure, but not having any weight to it, I can honestly say whoever takes that money, they are in debt to the United States. And whoever the United States takes that money from, that being the empire, Morocco, because that's the only treaty that they're in with, starting from the first treaty. That's who they're in debt to. They're in debt to us. Weight and measure. So you all been printing out stuff all this time and using our gold to back it. And you haven't given us anything, and you all have been eating off our land all these years, all these decades, all these millenniums. Let's go on and read. to provide the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States. So that just goes to show you, like, there's no copper in the penny. So that's a counterfeit. That wasn't the original agreement. Let me go to that website real quick. I need to find it. All right, here it is. If you all are looking for something to read, like this stuff, information right here is all you need to read if you want to understand laws. If you want to understand the history of America, this is all you need to read. Well, the history of the United States, not America. This is all you need to read. Okay, right here, Republic and democracy. These are the two parties that's fighting right now. We have nothing to do with it. So don't put yourself in this clue thinking you have something to do with it. You have nothing to do with this. Libera res publica. Free from things public. So I don't have anything to do with the republic, and I don't have anything to do with the democracy. I'm free from things public. Let's go on. I'm looking for the part where it talks about weight and measures. All right, so this is going to be a long one. So it's talking about flag and flag. Uppercase, lowercase. Okay, this is the one that they say is dealing with Admiralty and Maritime, and it's not the real flag. And this is the one they're talking about. It's the real flag. Neither one is the real flag. The real flag is the 5-pointed green star with the pinnacle in the middle and the red broad background, the Moroccan Moorish flag. They made a banner a flag. If it's a banner, it's supposed to stay a banner. You drape it over your business, your brick and mortar, when you open it up. To let people know you're from another land and you're coming to do business. Or you're from this land and you're just doing business. All right, so, and just to excuse myself, I would say the state flag has more power than the banner. Or if you want to call it the federal banner. It doesn't even make sense. All right, so here it is. This is from 1787, April 21st on a Saturday. The copper coin is the standard. The Fugio. Okay, time flies. That's what it has written on it. I had this penny before, and it had written on it, time flies. So I had an ounce of copper that had that design, Fugio. Right, so that is that. So this is from 1787. They took that out of circulation. And they devalued the money. So once you devalue the money and the people don't benefit from it, you've cut yourself out of the office. You've destroyed the Constitution. You've destroyed your office. You're not supposed to hold office anymore. All right, so white people have been, or Albions, they've been fighting for this position to keep the Constitution alive because it's their only hope. It's their only hope to stay on this land. All right, because they're going to end up like Jews one day where they're going to be on the Atlantic Ocean trying to get to the Middle East, which is why they're trying to destroy it now so they can rebuild it back up to their liking. So they want to put the Arabs over here with us while they take that land. All right, so I'm already peeping game on that. Let's see right here. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is supposed to be the only Supreme Court, the only court on the land. All right, so we don't need family courts. Let's see. So like when you look at a family court, it's interfering with family courts that's supposed to take place in the household. You're not supposed to be doing Zoom calls on family court. That's a disturbance of your privacy. Okay. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. All right, so I'm defining and punishing piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of the nations. All right, so if I chose a representative, even if my vote didn't get the overall, even if the person I voted for didn't get into office, right, they still have to hold themselves to the Constitution, which I voted them for, and they have to consult with me or my attorney to represent me either way during whatever hearing. Whatever bill is not sponsored, whatever they're supposed to get through and sponsor the bill for my liking. That's what the Constitution was meant to do, to protect your rights. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. All right, so let's go down here. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on the land and water. All right, so if I see a police car and they pull me over, they take me in. They're not supposed to do that because I'm fighting. I'm not fighting because I'm under another flag and my flag is peaceful. They're not supposed to charge me with a piracy act. They're not supposed to charge me with a RICO act. They're not supposed to charge me with a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor is not even in here. They're not supposed to charge me with a felony. All right, so what does felony mean? Okay, why am I on the high seas? So grant letter of marque and reprisal. So this means they're supposed to confiscate whatever you have and put a price on it for you to get it back. Congress is not doing that. The governor is not doing it. So why are they studying? So why are police studying pulling people over and telling them to do certain things? Why did the lady Massey get shot? The governor didn't tell them to go in there and do that. This is why the police chief got fired, right? All right, so they clean the house right now as usual. A lot of small towns in America, so we got to figure this out. To provide and maintain a navy. All right, so let's go even deeper into this. Article 1, Section 10. Okay, this is interesting right here. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver a coin and payment in debts, pass any bill of attainder ex post facto law or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. What are we doing right here? What are we doing? Okay, no state is supposed to do any of this without the consent of Congress. All right, so Congress is federal when they're conjoining states. All right, and federal just means federation, an idea. This is where you get the one state clause. And even then, like, why are we doing these things? You're not supposed to emit bills of credit if you're a state governor. Means you're not supposed to just be constantly making laws like they do now. You're not supposed to just be making laws, right? And you're not supposed to be benefiting your community with emoluments. And it also says in this Constitution that they're not supposed to accept emoluments. Emoluments means benefits. All right, so you're not supposed to give out benefits either. You're supposed to protect what the rights that's already preserved. Okay, right here it says no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any imposes or duties or imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection and laws. All right, so this means like imports from China, exports going to China. All right, so you got to protect those provisions. You have to protect them, and Congress has the power to protect them. Okay, right here it says, no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power, or engage in war unless actually invaded, or in such imminent danger as will not admit or of delay. So this is one thing that I'm looking forward to discussing more as far as duty and tonnage, troops, ships of war, agreement and compacts. I love this terminology. So it talks about that, and then it goes on to say in Section 9, migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such. So this is happening right now with people coming over here from different foreign countries and migrating to the United States, and they're ending up in communities that may be yours. Now, when you look at stuff like this and they're ending up in the communities that you may be already comfortable in, and you want to keep it for yourself and your family, and you don't want to have to change the laws and stuff like that to benefit them and their progeny to come over here just to get bills of credit. This is the issue that we're having right now. You're not getting paid in any type of fact through their tax or duty. You're not being paid. So they're coming over here and you're not seeing any result that's capitalizing off of them being here. All right, so that's an issue. And going on, they're just getting free money and you're not getting labor from them. So that's definitely an issue. So it says right here, the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. Writ of habeas. This goes back to the Iroquois Constitution. Who are you? All right. So again, that's important. You want to have writ of habeas, and you want to make sure that you don't lose Latin. You want to make sure you don't lose the benefit of being a descendant of your Latin heritage. All right, so it goes on right here. It says no bill of attainder ex post facto shall be passed. And I was talking to Judge Joe Brown about this. No bill of attainder ex post facto should be passed. So, like, if you already have a law in your community, they should not be making laws that come after your law and your heritage. Like, you shouldn't be familiar with the federal government at all. Like, you should only be familiar with the people. And this is how the Sentinelese live and the Drawa live. Like, they don't have anything to do with people who they don't know. Like, they stay in forests. They don't see people. All right, so this is how government is supposed to be. The federal government is not people you're supposed to see every day. This is what contributes to sanitation laws and stuff like that. It's not a good thing. So no bill of attainder means someone cannot just say, here, go get this person and bring them in and put them in the jail. That's not supposed to be happening. All right, so, and it's been happening in places like Chicago. This is where they suspended bail and like granted people who've been sitting in jails and stuff like that the opportunity to leave until they get summoned. So like there are even old reparations on that fact. Okay, so let's go on to read what stands out. No reference shall be given at any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another. All right, so there shouldn't be any unfair treatment like we see between blacks and Albions or whites. There shouldn't be any unfair treatment. So this is talking about emoluments. So Let's see. Donald Trump, if he's to get in there, Kamala Harris is to get in there, they shouldn't be wearing other people's clothes. All right. Because again, they should be making their own clothes, right? All right. So this is called an emolument. This is called a present. This is called to give title. This is called to give office. This is you're benefiting someone you're not supposed to be benefiting. Okay. Because we know for a fact, like if we come from a town or a village, the people that we live around, they make our clothes for us. We're not getting imports and then charging the people extra taxes just to be over here to sell whatever they have that they want to sell. Just because they have a relationship with the superpower like China or something like that. All right, so this is Article 2. I'm not going to go into all this because, again, Article 2 is dealing with executive, I think. I'm not sure. Let's see. Your case dealing with executive. All right, so executive, they have to go through judicial. All right, so case says right here, in case of removal of the president from office or of death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, that's what Joe Biden is going through right now. He's aging. The same shall devolve on the vice president, and the Congress may be law provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability. Both of the president and the vice president declaring what officer shall then as a president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president. So even if you do have a disability, you should be able to serve until you're better. So it's not a lasting or writing thing. All right, so again, like he's going through that right now, and he said he's not going to serve. He's not going to run for office again. So that's a good thing. The president shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation. See, they're only supposed to meet once a year, and that's in December, and they're supposed to receive compensation for their services. All right, so they're not supposed to be treated like Obama was treated. Obama, he got everything handed to him. And again, during all that time, the hometown that he comes from, Chicago, was going through a written problem with violence. So that's not supposed to be happening. The president, vice president, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from the office on impeachment for a conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Okay, so it does say something about misdemeanors, but only in this section, executive. So now when you reading this, like if you were to get convicted of a treason or bribery or one of his co-workers, or you were to be convicted of a high crime or a misdemeanor, the president is supposed to be removed from office immediately. And you see every day people get arrested for misdemeanors. He's supposed to be removed from office until peace is restored. Okay, now this talking about consuls. Okay, this is judicial power. This is the one I love right here, judicial. When you look at judicial powers, you're looking at consuls, maritime, admiralty, jurisdiction, parties, controversies, states, citizens. That's what I love. Because now you can separate the chaff from the wheat. All right, the chaff from the cattle. You can understand what's going on around. Now look at this, right? It says right here, the trial of all crimes except in cases of impeachment shall be by jury, and such trials shall be held in a state where the said crime shall have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may be law have directed. So don't you think, like, if you were committed of a misdemeanor or a trial, that the president shall be your witness? So why are they slow-footing? Why are they slow-footing? Okay, this is Article 4. This talks about the republic and states. Okay, it says right here, full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public records, public acts, or it says public acts and records, and judicial proceedings of every other state. So if I'm going to court in one state and I have to be in court in another state, those two courts have to respect each other's records. All right, so if I'm bringing up something from about the 1787, and he's talking about that's my court doesn't honor that. Like that's garbage. That's a lie he's telling. Because again, like if I'm bringing up UNDRIP in court and I'm in there for a civil appeal, he's supposed to honor UNDRIP even though it's international. Because I'm international. I'm not supposed to be in that court. That's a public record. He has to honor that. Right, so let's go on. I really want to get to the appeals. Well, not the appeals, the other ones. The amendments. All debts contracted is Article 6. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of the Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. All right, so this is basically saying that you can't make a Moor a debt slave. You can't make a Moor a prisoner forever. The United States was at fault from the time it was founded. It was at fault from the time it was founded because, again, when you look at the ambassadors going overseas and founding it, and I think was it Paris or France or somewhere, where they was getting funding to start the organization up, they were already in fault because they didn't have enough money to pay for the stuff that needed to be paid for. So they was using the land against the people already. They had it already on set. They were using the land against their cousins over here. All right, so the cousins didn't have anything to do with what they were trying to do. The cousins just said, we'll help you do what you have to do, but you can't impede on what we already have here. All right, so that's an issue right there. So you're talking about Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. This was not, and they wasn't even all on one agreement. All right, these are like only 5 people, and it's like, okay, what? How many senators in the state? Okay, and how many senators federal? Okay, 100 senators, 435 or 435 representatives. So this is only a hand-picked a few. Like they don't have special privileges. Like these are just people who were instrumental in helping start whatever needed to be done on agreement. But it wasn't enough of them. Okay, this right here, it goes. This is what I really want to talk about right here. And then I'll close out. Amendment 1, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. Okay, meaning there shouldn't be an RNC, there shouldn't be a DNC, there should be a GOP, a GOP, there shouldn't be an electoral college, there shouldn't be news stations saying we're going to vote, have a bloating block here for Democrats like Roland Martin. There shouldn't be any of that. There shouldn't be any of that. Because again, this is impeding on your first amendment. Because again, like stuff becomes imbalanced when everybody's talking about we're going to do this or we're going to do that. It becomes imbalanced. Like you're hogging the satellites. You're hogging the satellites. You're not supposed to hog the satellites or the news stations. All right. So it says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress grievances. So when you see there's an unfavorable amount of people, even if it's 1% to like 99%, you gotta stop. You gotta stop, look, and listen, like Marvin Gaye and Diana Ross said. You gotta stop and look, listen. That's where everything breaks off right there when you have an imbalance. Okay, Amendment 2, well-regulated relationship being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So who are the people? All right, so this can be talking about anything. But like regular citizens, regular people are not supposed to be armed around people who are not armed. Right, because this infringes on the security of a free state. Right, so the Second Amendment does not mean that you have a right to walk around with a unlicensed vehicle or unlicensed arm on your waist, because you just figure that one day you could wake up and do that against other people who you may feel be a threat to you for whatever reason. That's not what this article is saying. All right. It has a comma in it, and it has a period, and it has another comma in it, and another comma. And we know comma just means coma. All right. So let's go to Amendment 3. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. So this means cops are not supposed to be sitting outside your house at 3 a.m. at night or 3 p.m. in the afternoon and harassing you when you come out the house. That's exactly what that means. All right, so let's see. The Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue and be upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. All right, so when you look at your home, your house, right? It doesn't say insurance in here. All right, but it does say the fact that the executive authority, the legislative authority, and the state authority, and the treaty authority, and the judicial authority, all that's supposed to protect you. All right. What is probable cause? Well, cops should not be outside your house to begin with. They should not have computers in their centers keeping tabs on people. That's not how this works. That's not how the country was founded. And again, when you look at emolument clause, like who is making them clothes for the cops? That's an emolument clause. That's a privilege. That's not a right. And also, that's not supposed to be happening. So here goes the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. So this is why it's important, because I did this before. I served on a jury. I didn't get to testify or anything like that, or hold a greeting for I forgot the common language. I didn't have to testify in a hearing, or I should say, I didn't have to say nay or yea or anything like that. But I did go to a jury meeting, and I was present. All right, and they did pay me for being there. All right, so that's very important too. Like, you want to make sure people are found innocent, and they're not found guilty of a crime they didn't commit. All right, so it says right here, okay, unless on the presumption, okay, except in the rising on land, naval forces and militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. All right, so that's interesting in itself. This is where the dissolving of the Congress happens. You're having all these Senate hearings, you're having all these congressional hearings, these representative hearings, and no one is answering to public danger that's happening on this land or all over the Middle East. Right? How do you have a war lasting longer than one day? They have wars that's lasting more than 10 decades. All right, so that's that, and it says your private property should not be taken without you being paid. So that's public compensation. All right, that's public. You're not supposed to have public use of your property by anyone. All right, so someone takes something from you and they don't pay it back, they in debt to you. All right, so all you have to do is just look up your last name and just go where you've been, where your people have been. And if they can't find a home, someone has lied to you. This is why I always look at family last names, and I always look at where these people have been. Okay, this is Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. All right, speedy and public trial. So this means even if you don't show up for trial, you should still be treated just and fairly by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and the cause of accusation. to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. I mean, that's straight out. That's straight out. This is Amendment 7. In all suits and common law wherein the value of should exceed. So if you have money and they're saying you owe them a bill or a rent, they need to call a witness. They need to make sure you have a witness as well. They need to make sure you have an attorney as well, because they're accusing you of exceeding more than $20. So they say you need to pay a bill for a phone bill, or you need to pay an internet bill. You need to pay you're late on your insurance payments and stuff like that. That's more than just one of them. That's more than $20. So they owe you all that money back plus interest, because they can't win it. Because again, the Constitution protects you from that. Amendment 7. It protects you from what is that called? It protects you from haram behavior. Haram behavior. Protects you from that type of activity. So this is Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishment inflicted. So that goes back to bills. You should not be paying bills. Amendment 8 of the Constitution, the 1791 Constitution for the United States, says you should not be paying bills. The 8th Amendment. Okay, this is the 9th Amendment. This is the 10th Amendment. It says all the power go back to the people. So if I want to make a constitution that benefits me and my progeny, I have the right to do that, and you can't stop me from it. You can't stop me from doing that. All right. So, and again, like when you read this stuff, man, it's very clear. It's very quoted. It's no confusion. All of this Constitution is protected when you go into any establishment, because again, like this is what the founding principles are between federal organizations. It's the Constitution, the United States Constitution, that stops everything from occurring that's not supposed to occur. All right, so even when you go back to this website right here, USA versus US.info, it has everything in here that you need to know that you didn't know before. Sovereigns and subjects. Okay, I'm from Illinois, and our motto says the people there are sovereigns. So when people want to make a joke about is he a sovereign citizen or is she a sovereign citizen, it's in their own literature. All right, and see, they even had enough sense to put the right freeborn people in a picture for it's depicted right. Okay, they got a mountain behind them. This looks like the West Coast, and they got they're on the beach walking, and they of dark hue. Right, so let's not be confused about who has inherited rights and who has unalienable rights and who has inalienable rights. Let's not be confused. Elector, voter, who are you? Are you a voter or are you an elector? Right, you can be an elector or a voter. Okay, it doesn't matter. But if you are an elector, your English is pretty good, because you can defend why you are an elector. Okay, a grand jury, Magna Carta, Article 61, composed of 25 sovereigns. This is in the Magna Carta, Article 61. So the Magna Carta precedes the Constitution for the United States and the Constitution of the United States. 25 grand jurors. Right? So even if you have one witness over time in one case, and then you have 10 more in some other cases, and another 10, that's 31. All right. How many courts? How many courts are pending? How many cases are pending in court right now? That's going to be heard on Monday. That's going to be decided with prejudice and without prejudice. All of those people who fill those documents out are witnesses. They are grand jurors. Even if they are plaintiffs or defendants, they're there. All All right, so this is very common. You have an accuser, plaintiff, informant, and complainant. Complainant. Right. So all this is going to common law. You can use the literature or the words you want to use, but just read up on the stuff so you can know what it actually means, and you can have a gist of what it means. Right. So this Latin, it can be hard to read at first if you're just coming out of high school or college, but you'll get used to it once you just start to read it and you start to learn how words are played over time. This is why it's always good to be a seasoned vet. And when you're reading this stuff, man, because like I take this stuff seriously. Like basketball is my first love and law is my second love. So like I had to learn this stuff, man. All right, so venue. Venue can be known as like Bennu or Bennu or Benoit, Bennu. All right, so that just means you were already there. All right, and it says a place, and you know place just means play, and it also means lay. So you means it's like Cherokee place or something like that, or Choctaw place or Navajo place. It means you were already there. The people were already there. All right, so that's all I want to say for this video. Read up on the Constitution, make it your first love. Try to get familiar with it, and do a video on it explaining what you think it means to you. Because like when people get familiar with the Constitution and what it means, they won't take politics as a joke anymore. They'll take it very seriously. So this is something we need to really get familiar with. All right, so I'll close out, and you all have a good one.